A phone call interrupted the quiet with the ringtone of my smartphone. I glanced at the screen. It was from my dad. "Hello, Dad. What's up?" I answered. "Aurora, have you already reached John's family home?" he inquired. "Not yet. I just got off the train and missed the bus. Looks like I have to wait about 30 minutes for the next one," I explained. "Oh, that's good. What time is it?" he asked. "The next train heading back?" In about 20 minutes, I replied. "Okay, got it. Then wait in the station lounge. Don't get on the bus. Just wait there until I come to pick you up," he instructed. "That's impossible. I need to go help with a wake at Alara's place as soon as possible," I countered. "You don't need to go," he insisted. "Why not? John is on a business trip to Italy. I have to go since I'm the only one here," I reasoned. "I'll explain everything once we meet up." "Just don't go, all right?" he urged. "Oh, okay. I'll wait then," I agreed, puzzled by my dad's urgency. Why is Dad so frantic about calling me when I'm on my way to my deceased in-laws' house? Despite my doubts, I decided to wait for my dad. My name is Aurora Gabrielson. I've been married to John for 3 years. Currently, I work part-time at a bookstore close to the nearest station. My husband, John, works in the system development department of a multinational corporation. His company, expanding both domestically and internationally, focuses on developing and building ID systems, so he often travels abroad for half of the month. John's family home is in a rural area, and they continued farming until his father passed away. The first time I visited with John, well, since I'm alone, my cooking becomes pretty casual. All I eat is rice and pickles. His mom, Alara, while laughing, served me rice and her homemade pickled cabbage. The delicious rice and superb pickles were a real treat. "Alara, this is delicious. I can't think of any other words but delicious. I eat it every day," I complimented her. She seemed pleased to hear that. "Feel free to have seconds," she offered. When leaving, she gave me pickles and ordered tea from Oregon and rice from Idaho. It feels like it just happened yesterday, on the first day I met her. I felt we would build a good relationship. It takes about 2 hours by car to reach John's family home. It also takes about 2.5 hours by train and bus. This morning, I got a call from Lily about Alara's death. "Hello, Aurora. Alara passed away a little while ago. The wake is tonight. Can you make it by 2 p.m.?" she informed me. "Yes, I understand. But John is currently overseas on a business trip. I'll try to contact him, but I'm not sure if he can return today or tomorrow," I replied. "Oh, is that so? That's fine. Just you come," Lily said, sounding oddly happy. "Can you give me the specific time and location when you are ready? I want to contact my parents," I requested. "Of course, and don't forget to bring a black apron," Lily reminded me. "Sure, I won't forget. Thanks. I'll be in touch later," I said before hanging up. Checking the time on my phone, it was 9 a.m. There's a 6-hour time difference with Italy, so it's 3 a.m. there. Is John asleep? But this can't be helped. I tried calling, but it went to voicemail after 7 rings. "Alara passed away. The wake is tonight, our time, and the funeral seems to be tomorrow. Can you make it back?" I left a message on the voicemail. So now it's just waiting for a response. After that, I called my boss at the bookstore where I work to request some time off. I need to call my mom next, I thought. "Hello, Mom?" I said when she picked up. "Oh, Aurora, are you off from the bookstore today?" she asked. "Yeah, I took the day off. You see, this morning I got a call that Alara passed away," I explained. "What? She was still young. What happened?" My mom reacted with shock. "I just found out myself and don't know the details, but I'm getting ready to head there now," I said. "That's so hard to believe. I'll let your dad know. I only know that the wake is tonight. I'll call you back as soon as I have the time and place, all right? Gabriel might not make it in time for tonight, so take care, okay? Talk to you later," my mom said before hanging up. Now I need to get my things together. As I opened my closet, a black handbag in front of my morning clothes caught my eye. This black handbag was given to me by Gabriel's mom when she visited our house 2 months ago. It's good to have one nice item like this. You can use it for a long time, she had said while handing me the bag, still in its box. Alara was always a gentle and calm speaker, and she taught me the bare minimum about the customs and relations of their old family, as I was not very familiar with them. Gabriel and Aurora, you're living in the city, so don't worry about country relationships. You have your way of life in the city, right? When in Rome, do as the Romans do, she said with a smile. When Gabriel and I had been married for about half a year, we attended a relative's wedding in the city and ended up staying at his family home for a night. Since we rarely got the chance, we went shopping together in the shopping district and then went to a karaoke box where Gabriel's mom made her karaoke debut. She was so happy about it, smiling all the time. Aurora, in the 42 years since I married into the Gabrielson family, I've never had this much fun. Thank you, Alara, really, I reminisced. Enjoying the story so far? Show your support by liking and subscribing to our channel. Now, let's dive back into the story. I'm always happy to hang out, so come visit anytime. That makes me so happy. Maybe I'll come over again. Absolutely. By the time we got married, John's father had already passed away, and Gabriel left home for college, while his brother moved out when he got a job. Until Gabriel's father passed away 3 years ago, Alara had hardly ever left their rural town. I used to help with the fields, go to the rice paddies, and check on our rental apartments and houses. The year would just fly by, so after Dad passed away, I decided to stop farming and take it easy for a while. She used to say in her usual calm and cheerful manner, "Come to think of it, I've never seen Alara get angry. She was kind to everyone and never imposed her opinions on others. I want to be a grandma like her someday." I thought vaguely. I packed clothes for a few days and my morning attire into a suitcase and reached for the formal bag that Alara had given me. As I grabbed the handle and placed the bag on my lap, my sight seemed to blur. Although I hadn't shed any tears when I heard the news of her death, now they were streaming down my face. I must have been holding back my emotions, willing not to upset Alara. As precious memories of Alara flooded my mind, I hugged the bag and cried out loud. I never imagined saying goodbye so soon. We were supposed to go shopping and to karaoke next month, and she had promised to come stay with us for a while when the baby was born. When I found out I was pregnant last month, she was the happiest and congratulated me every time. I picked up something that reminded me of Alara. All the memories from these past 3 years came rushing back. No. I can't get caught up in memories now. I need to get ready. I can't keep Lily and the others waiting. I glanced at the clock. It was already 10:30 a.m. I need to hurry. As I stepped out of the house, I received a call from Lily. "Aurora, have you been able to reach Gabriel?" "No, I'm sorry. There's a 6-hour time difference, so it's the early morning there. I couldn't get through." "Oh, I see. Well, that can't be helped. The wake is tonight at 7 p.m., and the funeral is tomorrow at 11 a.m. "Oh, all right. So tonight at 7 p.m. and tomorrow at 11 a.m., this service will be held at the church we always go to. So please tell your parents that, Aurora." "Okay, got it." Truth be told, I was not very comfortable with my sisters, Lily and Erica. Gabriel, the youngest of 3 siblings, is 6 years younger than his older brother Robert, and 3 years younger than his older sister Erica. Robert is quiet and reserved, and Gabriel is somewhat similar. Erica, the eldest, is the type who says whatever is on her mind during gatherings like Thanksgiving or New Year's. Erica would always start with, "Aurora, still no baby," and Lily would inevitably join in, "You really should have your first child before you turn 30. Yes, after a year of marriage. Still no news. Could you possibly be a sexless couple? Maybe Gabriel has someone else on the side. Wouldn't be surprising, right?" They would take turns throwing these snide remarks during such times. Alara wouldn't raise her voice, but would gently admonish them. "Lily, Erica, you're both parents, aren't you? You know it's not nice to say things that can hurt others. Since everyone comes here together, I want them to always have a good time." Although I didn't interact much with Lily and Erica normally, Alara and I saw each other almost every month. If we went to visit her this month, she would visit us the following month. Mom and Aurora don't seem like a Millen deal, is that so? Yay. It's more like a mother and daughter, Gabriel often said. Those were good times. Thinking this, 20 minutes passed as I waited at the station. My dad's taxi pulled up in front of me. Jenon, we need to talk about something important, he said with a stern expression. What could he possibly need to talk about so urgently? What happened? Why did you suddenly say not to go? Well, actually, I received a letter from Alara yesterday. A letter from Alara to you, Dad? Yeah, she wrote that she didn't want Aurora to go to the Gabrielson house alone. What does that mean? You should read it yourself. Oh, okay. After reading it, you'll understand why I stopped you. What do you mean? He handed me a white envelope, and I was shocked by its contents. Dear Sir, thank you for the delicious sweets you sent the other day. I am writing this letter to make a rather forward request, and I hope you will forgive me for using this method. The request is that should I pass away, please ensure that Aurora never comes to our house alone. As you know, Gabriel often travels abroad and may not be able to return immediately upon my passing. Could you please make sure that she attends the funeral only with Gabriel? I am embarrassed to say this, but if the funeral is rushed before Gabriel returns, Robert and his wife, along with Erica, might try to get Aurora to sign a property renunciation document without Gabriel's consent. The renunciation process shouldn't happen. I'm sorry for involving Aurora in any inheritance dispute. I have left my will to a trusted friend regarding the property division. I apologize for making such a request through a letter. I pray for the health and happiness of you and your wife. Sincerely. Just as I finished reading, my phone rang. It's Gabriel. Hello, Aurora. I listened to your voicemail. Yeah, my sisters. They're trying to finish the funeral before I get back, aren't they? It seems so, probably. Aurora, you don't need to go today. I'll talk to Erica and Robert and ask them to reschedule. Okay, that sounds good. I can be back by tomorrow evening on the earliest flight. It's better if we both attend together. That's right. So just wait at home for me, okay? See you tomorrow. I felt relieved knowing Gabriel would be coming back. Is Gabriel able to get back tomorrow? I asked. Yeah, it seems so. This morning, by chance, I ended up driving Lily and the others in this taxi. They didn't seem to realize it was me. Robert was trying to persuade them to postpone the funeral by a day. They were planning to get you to agree to property renunciation while John was still away. Dad explained. What? Just like Alara suspected? I exclaimed. Seems so. Lily's son recently crashed her car, and they're facing a lawsuit for several $1,000s. Dad continued. Wait, Lily's car is a German luxury model, right? It should have insurance, I said. It was insured, but only for Lily. Her son forgot to get a one-day insurance with the car all banged up. She was furious about having to replace it, so they were trying to get as much of the inheritance as they could. Dad explained. The next evening, Gabriel safely returned home, and we were all able to attend Alara's funeral together. The will revealed an equal division of $300,000 to each couple. Lily looked uncomfortable. Robert, will the payment for the accident cover everything? I asked. Thanks for worrying, Aurora. We're still short about $100,000, but we'll manage. Not changing the insurance policy was our fault as parents. If it's okay, you can use $100,000 for my share. Dad offered. As soon as I said this, everyone turned to look at me. Lily quickly responded, Really, thank you. But then her son, Adam, stepped forward and bowed. I can't accept that, Mom. Aurora is kindly offering, Adam said. No, Mom, it's my responsibility for causing the accident. How about I lend the money to Adam and he can pay me back a little each month? Dad suggested. When I suggested this, Adam gratefully accepted. If Aurora is okay with that, I'd like to borrow it. I'm sorry. He promised to pay back $500 a month from his part-time job earnings. This seemed like something Alara would approve of. Aurora, you're too kind-hearted, Dad said. I almost felt like I could hear Alara's voice. Since then, Adam has been faithfully paying back the money each month. Lily, warned by her son, stopped meddling in the matter. Time passed, and finally the day came for me to give birth. Gabriel sent me off to the delivery room with a smile. If Alara were still here, she would have been with me, encouraging me. Thinking this, I entered the room. It took some time since it was my first childbirth, but a healthy baby girl was born. "Congratulations," said the nurse as I smiled at my crying baby. After a few days in the hospital, it was time to go home. Gabriel had been given some time off from work so we could cherish our time as a family. Soon, we'll visit Alara's grave with our daughter. I smiled, imagining Alara's joyful face at seeing the baby. Thanks for watching. How did you find the story? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more awesome stories like this. Your feedback and support mean a lot.
Alright, everyone's presentations are done. Nick, the manager, said as he tried to move the discussion forward. Excuse me, I haven't. I recently found out something. Nick interrupted me and began to speak. There's apparently someone in this department who didn't graduate high school and is just a part-timer. Meetings should be for employees only. Absolutely right. His lackey, Mike, of course, agreed with Nick. I'm leaving. After leaving the meeting room, I started to shut down my computer. I noticed that an email had arrived, not in my personal inbox, but in the company's shared email. Thinking, there's no point in speaking up, no one will listen, I went home quietly. The next day, I heard a commotion from Nick's desk. He was staring at his computer screen, his face pale. Nick? Is something wrong? Mike looked at the screen with him. And he turned even paler than Nick. Why is he so angry? Knowing the reason for Mike's distress, I thought to myself, serves them right. My name is Adam. My mother passed away when I was in the 9th grade, and I was raised by my father. Well, you could hardly call it being raised. After my mother passed, my father changed. He drowned his sorrows in alcohol, and though he still went to work, he squandered our living expenses on horse racing. Because of that, I had to start working part-time as soon as I entered high school. Every month, I went to the convenience store with bills in hand that couldn't be auto-deducted from my father's account. Even though I endured it because I didn't want to be alone, I reached my limit in my second year of high school and dropped out. I found a live-in job at a distant inn. Thank you for everything. The day I left home, my father, still staring at the TV, spoke. Take care. That was our last conversation. Back then, 18 wasn't the age of majority, so I needed my father's permission to work, and I couldn't hide my place of employment. Yet, my father never visited me even once. I kept working just to survive, and before I knew it, I was 42. Years of hard work paid off, and I was transferred to the headquarters. I was thrilled to be recognized by the company, as I thought I'd be working in the field until retirement due to my lack of formal education. Listen up. Our work can change the future of our employees. Don't drag us down. On my first day after the transfer, Nick, dressed in an expensive suit, spoke sternly. There was a reason for this. Our inn was located in a prominent tourist destination, known so well that everyone in the state could sing its commercial jingle. At its peak, we had 5 locations within the state. But that was long ago. Due to financial difficulties and aging facilities, only the place where I had worked for many years and the original establishment remained. I was prepared to lose my job anytime, but now there was a glimmer of hope. With the rise of social media, the tourist area where the inn was located started gaining attention again. Depending on how hard the sales department, where I was transferred, worked, we could either thrive or be forced to give up this prime location to the new hotel chains continuously popping up. For Nick, who had switched careers from another industry to strengthen our sales, this was a battle he couldn't afford to lose. I understood why he had to be strict. I will do my best. Nick sneered at my enthusiastic declaration. Did you not hear what I said? I'm sorry. I thought I was listening carefully. Out of habit from years of customer service, I apologized reflexively, though I had no idea what had offended him. Someone was watching me with a smirk. In this department, there are those who are expected to excel and those who have been shoved here because they have nowhere else to go. You are the latter. It was Mike, the section chief. He's 7 years younger, at 35. But he was called to headquarters much earlier than I was and had been moving around within the headquarters ever since. I'm not jealous, but I can't accept that he's my boss. Graduating from a prestigious university, he has an unusually high pride and caused many problems as a newbie, making things very difficult for me when I was the front desk leader. When I found out Mike was transferred to the sales department a month before me, I was disheartened. Mike is right. With just a middle school diploma, there's not much you can do. Don't even think about achieving results. As if I didn't exist, Nick remarked, I'm thirsty. Mike eagerly ran to the coffee maker. It seems Mike is Nick's lackey. I regretted being happy about my transfer to headquarters, wishing I had stayed on site forever. Send a direct mail to every company on this list by the end of the day. Nick only assigned me tasks that even a new graduate could handle. What? There are over 1,000 companies. You want me to send to all of them by today? Yes, if you and your fellow misfits split the work, even those with nowhere else to go should finish by today. I glanced at the employees typing away expressionlessly. They were worn out from customer service, only thinking about leaving on time, or were women reassigned after having children, with zero motivation for work. Even Sam, a new graduate from the same university as Mike, who was supposed to be among the expected achievers, had no enthusiasm for the job, having joined the company wanting to do customer service. I don't care what they say, I plan to quit any time, he said. Only Nick and Mike were highly motivated, making all the decisions between the two of them. I originally only wanted to work at the inn to survive and had no particular attachment to this job. I swallowed my words, thinking I had no right to reprimand them. About a month after the transfer, Nick told us with a frustrated look. To commemorate the 50th anniversary, we've decided to create a plan exclusive for one group per day. Originally, Mike and I were supposed to come up with it, but our president, Mr. Thompson, insists on hearing everyone's opinions. So, you all get a chance. As Nick explained, Mike began handing out prints. Make sure not to embarrass Nick. If your ideas are half-baked, you'll have to redo them. It seemed that they had printed his handwritten notes by Mr. Thompson, which included several questions and a section for free responses. It made sense why Nick had to seek our input, given that all responses had to be submitted to Mr. Thompson. We were given a week to think about it, and a meeting was scheduled to compile our ideas. My plan is to let guests enjoy both the old and modern America. Nick began the presentations. Guests would watch a master confectioner at a nearby traditional sweet shop make sweets in front of them. The welcome drink would be premium tea in a bottle. Nick's plan was certainly attractive. After his presentation, Nick called on us to present in the order we were seated. Just as I stood up for my turn. All right, everyone's presentations are done. Excuse me, I haven't. I recently found out something. Nick interrupted me. There's someone in this department who didn't graduate high school and is just a part-timer. He was likely talking about me. I joined the company as a part-timer and was made a full-time employee when I turned 20. That was 20 years ago, so Nick and Mike probably had no chance to know until recently. Meetings should be for employees only. Absolutely right. After that, Nick kept creating opportunities to solicit everyone's opinions, purposefully excluding me from speaking. The meeting unexpectedly heated up and went past the scheduled end time. A few people asked to leave, and the discussion continued with the remaining few. Still here? Normally, you'd leave in that situation. Though I had no attachment to the job initially, hearing kind words from customers made me want to make them happier. For someone like me, with nowhere to go, the inn was my home and customer service was my life. I felt pathetic about my current self. I'm leaving. I left the conference room and started shutting down my computer. I noticed an email had arrived, not in my personal inbox, but in the company's shared email. Thinking no one would listen to what I had to say anyway, I quietly went home. The next day, while preparing the DM as instructed, I heard a commotion from Nick's desk. In his haste to stand up, he hit his knee on the desk. He stared at his computer screen, his face pale. "Nick! What's wrong?" Mike, thinking he should be the first to rush over, approached Nick while still wearing his coat. He peered at the screen with Nick. And he turned even paler than Nick. Why is he so angry? Who is responsible for this company? Nick, more irritated than ever, asked, and Mike answered without checking. Probably Sam. Sam wasn't there because he was attending a morning training session for new hires. Nick gave up on getting angry and returned his gaze to the screen. They were looking at an email that arrived right after the end of the working day yesterday. Apparently, no one, including me, had checked it before leaving. The email was from a large company that used us for their annual employee trips. The president and executives of that company also frequently used our services personally. President of the company, Mr. Mason himself, had declared that neither he nor his company would ever use our services again. Well, some companies cancel their employee trips or stop using our services due to financial struggles. Let's just move on. Mike kept wiping the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. Knowing why Mike was so agitated, I quietly watched their interaction. Do you know how much revenue we get from that company? We can find other guests to fill the rooms, but we'll lose the banquet costs, gift shop revenue, rental car fees, and more. Moreover, the gifts were supposed to be prepared by the traditional confectionery shop involved in Nick's proposed plan. If it's known that we incurred such a huge loss at this critical time, Nick's position in the company would be jeopardized. Nick took a deep breath, seemingly trying to calm himself. All right, Mike. Go to New York right now and apologize to Mr. Mason. What? You're coming with me, right? I have urgent work to do. I trust you, which is why I'm entrusting this to you. Please. Mike, believing Nick's sincerity, agreed with a determined look on his face, saying, yes. That's Nick for you. Even if Mike went to apologize, Nick would shift all the blame onto him if the client didn't change their mind. Well, it was Mike's fault to begin with, so it served him right. About 3 hours later, Sam answered a call from somewhere and repeatedly apologized, saying, I'm very sorry. Everyone watched to see what was happening. After ending the call, he informed Nick with a weary tone. When Mike arrived at the client's company, he only made things worse, further infuriating Mr. Mason. He was demanding, get his boss here immediately. It was no wonder Sam was exhausted, dealing with such a call right after returning from training. What is that idiot doing? All right, Adam, you're coming with me. If sacrificing Mike didn't work, then I must be next. Normally, I'd want to refuse at all costs, but I saw an opportunity in this situation. If I can be of assistance, I'd be happy to join you. I obediently followed Nick, and we flew to New York. When we introduced ourselves at the reception, it became clear how serious the situation was, as the receptionist personally escorted us to the president's office. Angry voices leaked through the door, making both Nick and me uneasy. Excuse me. I'm Nick, the supervisor. I understand my subordinate has caused you trouble, and I deeply apologize. Nick, with his experience in the corporate world, knew enough to offer an apology before excuses. However, his customer service skills left much to be desired. I sighed as I saw Mike trembling like a small dog in the corner of the room. What kind of training are you giving your subordinates? Mr. Mason glared at Nick with a red face. The intensity of his gaze made even Nick take a step back. Regrettably, I joined this company only 2 years ago and was unaware of Mike's issues. I should have identified his shortcomings sooner. Indeed. I should have realized sooner. No sensible person would come to apologize and then give a lengthy presentation on the drawbacks of not using their in. Nick froze, his mouth slightly open. Suspecting the worst, I picked up the documents that had fallen to the floor. It seemed Mike hastily prepared these documents on the plane, listing the disadvantages. Disadvantage 1, if you change the venue for the company trip, employees might suspect it's for cost-cutting reasons, leading to a negative impression. Reading it aloud half-jokingly, Nick snatched the papers from my hand and checked the contents with a furious expression. Among the stack of documents was a receipt from a nearby convenience store's copy machine. I felt a pang of dread, hoping he hadn't shown the receipt as well. What do you think he said when I asked what kind of nerve he had to do this? I'm very sorry. Faced with the dire situation, Nick must have thought there was nothing left to do but apologize. In a voice smaller than I'd ever heard from him, he uttered words of apology. He said, "I'm a Harvard graduate. I don't believe I said anything wrong." Mike! What have you done? Forgetting his plan to pin the blame on Mike, Nick yelled loudly, even in front of Mr. Mason. "I didn't do anything wrong." "You're still saying that? Look at him." Mike pointed at me with a shaking hand. "I was assigned to headquarters in my 20s and now I'm a section chief. This guy only made it to headquarters at 42. Everything I've done proves I was right. So why are we losing the contract?" Having said his piece, Mike collapsed to the floor. "Of course. You were sent there because you had nowhere else to go." Mike never expected to hear such words from someone he looked down upon. He lunged at me, and Nick hurriedly stepped in to stop him. "Mr. Thompson told me Mike is a quick thinker, and to take good care of him." There's no way he was pushed aside. "Don't make things worse here." "He didn't say quick thinker, he said only quick-witted, didn't he?" I don't remember that part." I recalled the many troubles Mike caused when he was a newbie. When Mike was on the front line, his pride was so high that he never apologized to customers. Customer service, especially in our job, doesn't work alone. It brings both good and bad situations. If the front staff or housekeepers made mistakes, or the cleaning company didn't properly clean a room, one had to apologize to the customers regardless of personal fault. Mike, in such situations, would never apologize, insisting he wasn't at fault. This often angered customers, and as the front desk leader, I frequently had to apologize on his behalf. He caused complaints and disrupted operations, which is why he was quickly moved to headquarters. In departments where he didn't interact directly with customers, his quick thinking was beneficial and things went well. But it seemed his flaws were starting to show. Corporate reservations are supposed to be entered into the system by the sales representative. But a quick check yesterday revealed that more than 10 items were missing from the client's reservation. The handover document clearly stated what needed to be prepared. Why didn't you enter it into the system? Why do we have to give them special treatment? Filling rooms near the banquet hall, setting up all the food in advance. Specifying the brand of wine, they're too demanding. No wonder he always angered customers, I thought, feeling a headache coming on. Grouping them in rooms near the banquet hall is for our benefit too. It makes it easier for the staff to set up beds and serve breakfast since everyone's schedule is synchronized. As for the other requests, Mr. Mason suggested them to lighten our load. I didn't know that. Nick finally seemed to realize that Mike was the one who had angered the client. What did you say to them? I just told them we wouldn't give them special treatment anymore. We shouldn't waste effort on things that don't bring in money. I was utterly exasperated at his lack of understanding of customer service. Of course, we shouldn't comply with unreasonable demands. But carrying over successful practices from past stays makes customers feel remembered and enhances their experience. Good memories encourage repeat visits. That's part of our job. I looked down at Mike, who was sitting on the floor. In our job, nothing is a waste. Mr. Thompson likely moved you to the sales department, hoping you'd finally understand this. How do you think he feels now that you've failed to meet his expectations? Mike, tears in his eyes, fled the president's office. I was amazed he still hadn't apologized. You have it tough, Adam. It's okay, we're all employees of the same company. I deeply apologize for this disrespectful incident. Especially after all the care you've shown us. If it weren't for you, Adam, I really would have stopped staying here. When I heard you were moving to the sales department, I was willing to reconsider if you handled it. Seeing us talk so amicably, Nick's face contorted. Do you two know each other? Adam's service is excellent. I always requested him specifically. Normally, we don't accept specific staff requests, but we made an exception for Mr. Mason, adjusting my shifts accordingly. He had personally stayed at our hotel just before my transfer, and during casual conversation, I mentioned, I'm moving to the sales department soon. If I hadn't told him then, things could have been much worse. Please continue to take care of us. I look forward to it. On the return flight, Nick awkwardly offered me a can of beer. It's still working hours. Of course, I had no intention of forgiving him for a single beer. Nick might try to pin everything on Mike and avoid any consequences. While pondering this, a startling fact came to light. Nick, the tea bottles for the plan have arrived. I handed Nick a bottle labeled with our inn's name. They look good. What are you talking about? These are plastic bottles. I had assumed we would use the trendy, high-end bottling tea. But what arrived were ordinary plastic bottles of tea with customized labels. The only unique aspect was the label, which had the inn's name, making it look customized. Upon further investigation, I discovered that a substantial amount of money was set to be paid to the tea company. It was priced like bottling tea. Does this plastic bottle really cost $100 each? The tea inside is specially blended for us. The extra cost is for that. Wouldn't it be better to use another tea company? Or is there a specific reason we must use this one? As Nick continued to make excuses, I showed him a printed email. I informed the tea company's president, Mr. Mitchell, that we discovered irregular payments and he confessed. He said you two were high school classmates and planned to split the extra money. That idiot. Why did he confess? That's not important. You should worry about yourself, this could turn into a police matter. Opening the bottle cap, I suggested. How about calming down with this tea? It supposedly has a relaxing effect. Nick drank the tea frantically. In the following days, decisions were made about their fates. Mike was reassigned to the General Affairs Department, with no chance of transfer or promotion, as per Mr. Thompson's orders. As for Nick, since the payment to the tea company hadn't yet been made, he narrowly avoided legal trouble. Instead, he was encouraged to leave the company, and to avoid further complications, Nick submitted his resignation. Rumor has it that connections between HR departments have made it difficult for him to find new employment. Even though it was good to have those two gone, something unexpected happened in the sales department. Everyone became motivated and united in refining the 50th anniversary plan. In the end, my plan was adopted. We collaborated with the Tourist Information Center to provide personalized guides. The plan, tailored to the number of guests, was truly special for the 50th anniversary. Hey, is Adam's family coming to stay? I immediately booked that special plan for my family. Sam noticed it on the reservation list and quickly picked up on it. Yes, I'm inviting my father. That's great. I might invite my parents too. I lacked the courage to face my father just as Adam. But here, with the confidence Mr. Mason praised, I felt ready. The 50th anniversary plan was a perfect opportunity to reconnect with my father. I hoped to bring back the days when we could laugh together as we once did.